Nacht Faust is a former nobleman of House Faust, the vice-captain of the Clover Kingdom's Black Bull Squad of the Magic Knights and a devil host. He spends several years working as a spy within the Spade Kingdom. Nacht and his twin, Morgan, were born to House Faust. After the twins turn 15 years old and receive their grimoires, Nacht hears about a foreigner with weird magic, so he investigates and meets Yami Sukihiro. The two get along and have fun committing petty crimes together. Later that year, Morgan and Yami join the Grey Deer squad of the Magic Knights. Morgan also befriends Yami and encourages Nacht to join as well, but Nacht refuses. When Nacht turns 18 years old, his parents tell him of the family's history of studying devils, and bring to the underground training chamber. Nacht is overjoyed at the prospect and, over a short time, successfully binds 4 devils: Gemadello, Slotos, Plumede, and Waldner, and masters their powers. One day, Nacht's father gives Nacht a bracelet linked to Lucifagus. Morgan, who snuck into the chamber, attempts to dissuade his brother, but Nacht loves the danger and declares that he will surpass his limits, while summoning the devil. Nacht watches in terror as Lucifagus proves to be too powerful, and kills most of the family. Morgan leaps into the magic circle and shatters the bracelet, cancelling the ritual and sending the devil back to the underworld. As he dies in Nacht's arm, Morgan tells of his dream for them to protect the Clover Kingdom together as Magic Knights. Nacht screams in anguish and begs the gods to save his brother. He then reprimands himself and decides to never forgive himself. After Morgan's burial, Nacht sits in front of the gravestone and cries. Yami wanders over and promises to make Nacht his vice-captain once he becomes a captain. As he leaves, he takes Nacht's discarded pack of cigarettes. As promised, Yami names Nacht the vice-captain of the new Black Bull Squad. Nacht visits the base once before going undercover in the Spade Kingdom. While the Dark Triad are away attacking the Clover and Heart Kingdoms, Nacht infiltrates the royal palace and searches through the documents in Dante Zagrattis' room. A dark disciple discovers him, so Nacht disappears into a shadow, and then pulls the disciple down into his shadow. Nacht emerges from the shadows and walks away. That night, Nacht returns to the Clover Kingdom and catches Asta leaving the infirmary. Nacht restrains the young Magic Knight, talks him down from hastily chasing after the captured Yami Sukihiro, and then introduces himself, revealing that he knows how to use a devil's power. He also introduces his devil, Gemadello, before releasing his spell and letting Asta stand back up. Nacht explains that he has been undercover in the Spade Kingdom the whole time. Asta asks to learn how to use his devil's power, but Nacht refuses and instead insists that he rest. Nacht interrupts captain's meeting. PNG. Nacht interrupts a captain's meeting and stops them from attacking him. The next day, Nacht slips into the captain's meeting and interrupts, complimenting their motivation but criticizing the mess they made of the meeting. He rises up out of a shadow with Asta under his arm. The captains move to attack the intruder, but Nacht uses his devil power to summon 4 masked beasts to stop them. Julius vouches for Nacht's identity, and Jack notes that Nacht's magic has changed. Nacht hands over the documents from Dante's room, and explains the process for the Tree of Qlifoth. Real Boys Mortier wonders why the Dark Triad are doing this, and Nacht claims that they are evil and their motivations are incomprehensible. In order to retrieve Yami and William and to destroy the Tree of Qlifoth, Nacht wishes to train Asta and his anti-magic and to build a team around Asta. Nacht explains his plan to slip into the castle, lists the Dark Triad's names and magics, and adds that the team will have to be limited in size. When Yuno requests to be on the team, Nacht asks who Yuno is since he was visited by a resistance member from the Spade Kingdom. Yuno reveals that he is the purported prince of the Spade Kingdom. However, he wishes to seek revenge on Zenon Zagrattis for the sake of William Vangians and the Golden Dawn Squad. Nacht likes Yuno and Sylph's tenacity and power. Nacht announces that he will leave on the morning of the 3rd day. Fugolian Vermilion suggests requesting help from the Heart Kingdom, but when Charlotte Roselli mentions the loss of contact with the kingdom, Nacht reveals that Vanica Zagrattis was out of the castle the day before and may have attacked the Heart Kingdom. Nacht then visits the Black Bull's base, and informs them of the coming mission. He criticizes the few there for their bad reputations and, as he leaves, tells them to get stronger if they want to save Yami. Nacht rejoins with Asta and they travel to the abandoned estate of House Faust. Nacht leads Asta into a small room, where he touches the floor, and drops them into a secret chamber. After explaining the devil binding ritual, Nacht has Asta join him in the magic circle, which Nacht uses to summon Asta's devil out of the grimoire arm. Nacht then insists that Asta fight the devil and win. When Asta refuses to fight, Nacht informs him that if he loses, he will be turned into a monster and Nacht will execute him. Asta does not sense killing intent from the devil, but Nacht claims that devils are incapable of having good hearts, with which the devil agrees. When Asta finally chooses to fight, Nacht recognizes that Asta is as disadvantaged against the devil, since Asta has no magic for the devil's anti-magic to cancel. Asta imitates the swordsmanship styles of his allies and enemies, and Nacht is irked when he recognizes the imitation of Yami. Once Asta defeats the devil, Nacht congratulates him and informs him how to subjugate the devil, but Asta chooses to befriend the devil. Nacht cautions that a contract of equals will allow the devil to refuse, but Asta insists. Nacht's devils form around Nacht, and Jamadello comments that Asta is a moron, with which Nacht agrees. As Asta and Lieb shake hands, Nacht steps into the circle, and is pleased by Asta's choice. Nacht then enters Unite mode, Canis, and challenges Asta and Lieb as the continuation of their training. Nacht tells them that Unite allows him to add characteristics from each of his devils to shadow magic, such as Jamadello's characteristic pack, which creates hound-like clones of Nacht. As Asta is fighting off the shadows, Nacht explains that since Lieb is not Asta's servant, it will not be easy for Asta to use 100% of his power. Nacht then tells Asta to use that power to defeat him. Asta declares that he will surpass his limits. Those words irk Nacht, and Asta senses the disturbance in Nacht's ki, and aims a flying slash at it. Nacht manages to dodge and is further irked when Asta names his new sword, the Demon Slasher Katana. 2 days later, Nacht has defeated Asta and Lieb again. While watching Asta and Lieb eat healing magic-infused cookies and bicker, Nacht is reminded of his younger brother. With time running short before the mission start, Nacht goes all out, traps Asta and Lieb in dark prison hunting ground, and bombards them with attacks from all sides. In their desperation, Asta and Lieb manage to unite for a brief moment and to slice through Nacht's magic. Nacht is impressed by the capabilities of their anti-magic and admits his defeat. However, he refuses to allow them to join the mission since they have not mastered the technique yet. Nacht then admits to having watched the Black Bulls from the shadows. He also adds that although people who are right are not always rewarded, he wishes that they would be. Nacht leaves behind Jamadello to continue training Asta and Lieb, and in the morning, Nacht gathers with the other magic knights selected for the mission. He explains that Asta will join later. He then makes a shadow corridor to the Spade Kingdom. As the team enters the Spade Kingdom's castle, Zenon unleashes a giant demon on the castle town. Fugolian is worried for those outside, but Nacht assures him that they will be fine. Mereoliona Vermilion then arrives and punches the demon. Fugolian trails behind to handle the Dark Disciples along the way, while Jack and Nacht continue on to fight Dante. When Dante increases the gravity, Nacht summons Slotos and enters Unite mode, Equus, which enables him to withstand the pressure. Jack struggles to stand back up, so Nacht mocks him while fending off Dante. However, Nacht does not have an attack that can kill Dante, so he has to rely on Jack's magic. Nacht defends Jack long enough for the captain's blades to adapt to gravity magic and Dante's rapid regeneration. After Jack lands a serious injury to Dante, Plumede reports to Nacht on the victories against Zenon and Vanica. Nacht believes they have plenty of time until the first gate opens. However, the roots of the Tree of Clyfoth suddenly burst forth from the castle. Nacht enters Unite mode, Fellis, and peers through the shadows in order to see what is happening in the rituals chamber. He is surprised to see that Maurice Libarder, the former magic scholar from the Diamond Kingdom, has a position in the magic circle, and has managed to accelerate the tree's growth. The first gate then opens, and 2 devils appear in Dante's chamber. Thanks to Plumede's characteristic agility, Nacht is able to dodge Nahuma's attack, whereas Jack is struck by Lilith's attack. The devils unleash a barrage of attacks, and Nacht dashes around the room but is still a few times. Nacht appraises their strength as greater than the Dark Triad. After a horde of devils also emerges from the underworld and the Dark Triad access 100% of their devil's powers, Nacht determines that he has to stop Maurice from accelerating the ritual, but also has to keep Nahuma and Lilith from going elsewhere. So after reflecting on Asta, Nacht formulates a new plan and sends Waldner to lead Dorothy and Swerth to Maurice's location. Once Waldner returns to him, Nacht merges with the devil and uses its characteristic to momentarily paralyze Nahuma and Lilith. He then drags them into another part of the castle, switches back to mode, Fellis, and traps them all in his dark prison hunting ground. The 2 high-ranking devils lash out wildly with their magic. Nacht maneuvers near Nahuma, switches to mode, Equus, and kicks Nahuma, who turns its torso into fire and lets Nacht's leg pass through. Nahuma destroys Nacht's left shield, so Nacht switches back to mode, Fellis, and continues dodging the devil's attacks. As Nacht resolves to stall them, Nahuma and Lilith question why he does not run away with his speed, to which Nacht responds that he cannot forgive unjust evil. Not long after, Nacht is pierced by several needles of burning ice. He refuses to give up, and declares that he will surpass his limits. He assimilates both Waldner and Plumede so that he has enough magic power to use Monument of Atonement, trapping and sealing away himself, Nahuma, and Lilith. However, the devils break out of the seal, and Nacht is jettisoned and crashes to the floor. Lilith and Nahuma restrain his arms, while Nacht screams from the pain of his injuries, as well as from seeing the injured states of Waldner and Plumede. As Lilith and Nahuma laugh, Nacht realizes that they were only playing with him. Nahuma reaches for Nacht's throat, but Asta arrives and severs the devil's hand. After Gemadello hugs his face, Nacht insists that Asta leave him and fight the Dark Triad, but Asta refuses and removes Nacht's restraints. Asta then tells him to live and see the strength that he cultivated, which reminds him of Morgan. After Asta cleaves Nahuma in two, Nacht watches in shock as Lilith fuses with Nahuma, and then the fused devil creates a freezing sun with their massive magic power. After Asta reflects back and cuts up the sun, the fused devil flees from him to wait for his transformation to end. However, Nacht emerges from their shadow on a falling chunk of ice behind them, and restrains them long enough for Asta to catch up and slice them apart. Nacht catches Asta and Lieb after they separate and fall, and brings them through shadows to the roof of the castle. Nacht compliments them even though their transformation is incomplete. Asta compares Nacht to Yami, for which Nacht binds him, but Nacht reflects that Asta is like his former self. Asta then yells in pain from the drawback of using his Unite form. Nacht worries whether or not the other mages will hold out for the 30 minutes until Asta recovers. Although Morris speeding up the ritual is a pressing issue, Nacht reasons that defeating the Dark Triad should be their priority. They reach Dante's chamber in time to see Magna knock out Dante, which surprises Nacht. With the ritual slow due to Dante's defeat, the Black Bulls head out to defeat the rest of the Dark Triad, and Nacht hands Magna the few remaining healing magic-infused cookies. Along the way, Luck asks Nacht to find Mimosa Vermilion and bring her to Vanika's battlefield, where Asta and Luck are heading off to first. After Megicula is defeated, Nacht emerges from a shadow, and believes that Gaja, Ril, and Charlotte are too injured to be saved and that they should be content with having defeated a highest-ranking devil. However, Mimosa's ultimate magic, Flower Princess Utopia, heals the three's wounds completely, which amazes Nacht. While being healed by Mimosa, Nacht watches as Zenon's tower crumbles. He assimilates Plumede and spies that all of the Dark Triad are defeated, but to his shock the ritual has not stopped. After the Black Bull base smashes through the castle to the ritual chamber, Nacht and his devils watch from above as the other Black Bulls defeat Morris and Yami wakes up.